All right, have not fans. This is my episode review for last night's episode, Pray to Me, which is the third episode of season 7. And gotta say, I was not that impressed. To be honest, if it wasn't for the excitement and just the fun of live tweeting with the fans, probably wouldn't be watching this show live. I'll probably just catch it, either the next morning or later that night. But I was disappointed because this was the third episode, and after two strikes, episodes 1 and 2, I thought the third episode would really kind of, raise the bar. But the preview for next week's episode, Evil Offspring, definitely looks like it's going to bring the fire. I feel like that is pretty much, how I would sum up the preview. I literally just recorded my trailer breakdown for next week because it looks like we have a lot to look forward to. Jeffery Owens' debut, the return of Laquita, Candace beating the hell out of a stripper, Veronica seeing Catherine in jail, then Jim clinging on to life, but it's pretty obvious he's still alive. This is just dramatic effect. But this episode just left a lot to be desired. That doesn't mean there weren't some gems. No, Jim, G-E-M, not J-I-M, gems within the episode itself. But if you saw any of my 3 videos that I posted before the episode, the sneak peeks, and yes, if we continue to get those clips, and the clips are, full of, juicy details and whatnot, then I'll actually continue to do sneak peek videos every Tuesday before the episode airs. Not much to talk about in the episode. The scene that I predicted being the best scene was, as predicted, near the end of the episode where Derek confronted Veronica. And the first 20-some minutes, I was like, when is something going to happen? Because we pick up where we left off, Hannah at the Crier house. And next thing you know, David and Jeffrey come. Catherine's being arrested. And basically, it's like, when Hannah arrives, she learns what happened. Then when David and Jeffrey arrive, they learn what happened. It was just the same dialogue over and over again. Catherine just, George, I was just shot at. My husband could be dead right now, and you want to arrest me for Jennifer Salison? What the hell's going on here? I want to have all your badge numbers and all this stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, nah. And, okay, look, don't take this the wrong way, but let's go back a couple of seasons. Remember when Big Sal Malone, the big guy in the jail cell with Wyatt, who got purposefully arrested in order to kill Wyatt in jail? Remember he was, what was it? The cops were called because of, I guess you could say, loitering. It's like, hey, there's this big guy just standing outside of my house by some random person. Justin shows up. Sal punches him in the face. And then Justin, I think punches him back, puts him in handcuffs because Sal surrenders. And then he goes to jail. And I was like, in that moment, if it was a black guy, he would have got shot. Now, when they were telling Catherine not to resist arrest, she's like, I'm going to resist all I want to. In the back of my mind, I was thinking, a little bit of white privilege there. But then I'm like, yeah, I know this is just TV show, guys. I'm just saying, like, if you kind of thought the same thing I did, then let me know. But I'm just saying, when I was watching the scene, I'm like, yeah, that's some white privilege right there, just resisting. It's like, honestly, she didn't even resist physically. She just said, I can't believe you're doing this. Then she kind of struggled a little bit and then, was walked out of the house. But I'm thinking to myself, yeah, people like me, we couldn't do that. But then Wyatt and Catherine are talking brief. And like I said, guys, I've done videos on these clips, and it's basically the same thing, Wyatt saying it's about time Catherine gets arrested for what she did to Jennifer. And the best part of this scene was when this fool Wyatt telling Hannah to pray for me, pray to me. I'm God. You ought to be happy. That was definitely God who, stopped me from killing my mom. I shot at her, but missed her on purpose. But yeah, it doesn't explain how the wall behind Catherine was completely undamaged, because it was later explained in the episode about it, the shotgun and how those bullets weren't full. I'll get to the bullets in a minute, but yeah, the impact alone should have definitely left some wall damage if you didn't want us to believe that Wyatt missed Catherine in the finale last season, but whatever. So this fool Wyatt just would not shut up for anyone or anything. Hannah goes back into the house after learning from Wyatt that Jim was going to have Benny kidnapped. And now all of a sudden, Hannah wants to talk with George about the $8 million and everything, even though in the last episode, I don't know anything about any money. And I'm like, okay. So Hannah calls Candace about the kidnapping scheme. And, Candace is at home on the couch. And she's like, well, Ma, he's with Mitch. He's a Malone. Ain't nobody going to be messing with him. Don't worry about it. And she keeps asking how Jim is. And I'm like, here we go again. This reminds me of after Amanda was Amanda was killed. And she kept saying, I'm going to go over to the Cryer house to pay my respects to Jim. And it's like David and Maggie doing everything they can to prevent this fool from going over there just because they know that she'll just set Jim off. Charles is wanting to call Candace, just staring at his phone. Trust me, we've all been that way. Heck, I was thinking about that yesterday. Somebody I wanted to message, even though I know I shouldn't because we haven't talked in a while. But, it's like I remember seeing a meme a few days ago floating around. It's like, admit it. We're halfway through January and you've already messaged someone you said you wouldn't message in 2020. But he actually swipes his finger. Look, I've never done the what's it called? The Tinder what do you call it? Tinder, Twitch. Well, I think it's Tinder. It's like where you swipe left, swipe right. So he pretty much goes from Candace to Gretchen, and he calls her up. And yes, I always mix it up. I keep saying, is it Wisconsin or Michigan? It's Detroit, Michigan, where Charles's home is at. So Gretchen says she'll come over. David and Jeffrey arrive. Like I said, they get the entire recap of everything that happened in regards to Wyatt. This fool screaming to the press is that Wyatt shot Jim Cryer. Jeffrey's trying to get him to shut up, and he just won't. So really nothing to say here. They just get the same recap of exactly what happened. But here's the best part. The one cop, what's his name, Donovan or whatever, he says that, the bullets were half-loaded shells. They're used for quail hunting, but still, after coming out of a shotgun, it would do some damage. So it's more likely that Jim will survive if they weren't from quail hunting bullets as opposed to, full-on shotgun shells. But given the fact that it was a shotgun, there was definitely an impact, hence why Jim is in such bad condition right now. And one could make the argument that, and this is just me making a theorizing here, if those were full-on bullets, or at the very least, if Wyatt did shoot Catherine, because he was way closer to Catherine than he was with Jim with the shotgun, it's possible that Catherine would have been in even more of a critical condition than Jim, or possibly dead, just based on the range from which Wyatt was when he fired the gun at her. Just saying. Jeffrey wants to help out. Well, Jeffrey's like, okay, what are you supposed to do about Wyatt? And David's like, there's nothing we could do for him. And that's a good point. There's really nothing they can do. He's in the cop car. He's just running his mouth, which begs the question, A, he's still clearly high from those drugs RK gave him. B, has anyone even read him his rights? C, even though he's just confessing to shooting Amanda, shooting his parents and whatnot, could anything he say actually be used in court against him? Because again, he's clearly still on drugs and nobody's read him his rights. So I'm just very confused about this whole thing. Derek gets a phone call from Veronica to come over to her house. He doesn't want to do it. Bitch. And I'm like, oh, damn, Derek, well, obviously Derek's really pissed off because he just found out he has a daughter. He's trying to process that the woman he cares about doesn't want to have anything to do with him. And now you have this whore just calling him up, making demands. So he goes over to the house later on in the episode. Then we get, honestly, a very surprising scene that I did not know would blow up. I did the video yesterday about Hannah begging David for help. That video should hit about 10,000 views maybe by later today. Out of the 3 videos I did yesterday between Catherine gets what's coming to her, Derek stands his ground against Veronica, I thought the Hannah and David one would be the least popular, but that actually has the most views. That's usually how it goes. The video I don't expect to do well is the video that blows up. But I've already talked about it in an over 10, a 12-minute video. I I get it, Hannah. You want to protect your kids, but this is not the right time. Everybody in the house has either been arrested and taken to jail, or taken to the hospital, or on their way to the hospital. So yeah, David doesn't know what's going on. He has no time for this, and honestly, I don't feel that bad for Hannah. Sorry, not sorry. So Landon and Adeline are talking on the phone. Adeline, I believe, we haven't seen in quite a while. The last time I recall seeing her was when she came into Candace's hotel room at the Artesian Hotel, telling her about what life would be like as the first lady, like, you know, what to wear, the fact that you need to cut down on carbs to lose some weight. She really gives off a Maggie Day vibe. And basically, Landon finally gets assistance in trying to clean up Candace's act. Well, story, if you will, spinning the story. And, you know, they should get confirmation on that tomorrow. Like, you know, Landon will contact her again and see if they can, you know, try to fix the situation. Scott comes in. Guys, once again, nothing really to talk about here. Kyle, the attorney general, it's revealed revealed to Landon why he wants to take down Candace so badly. Back when he got robbed by her and it was less than $2,000. That happened at the beginning of season 4, right? That was when, after Quincy Jr. was killed, and during Candace's pimping phase, where she would just lure men to her hotel room and not have sex with them, but just straight up rob them / blackmail them. And then, oh yeah, that's why she got arrested, and then Landon got her out of jail. I do remember that. And after giving over that information, Scott's like, hey, don't be surprised if I call you up soon looking for a favor in return, which I'm interested to see if that'll ever be followed up on. But also keep in mind that if I were Scott, it's like, look, you already have the leverage of that photo with me and my cousin Melissa at the bar. So since I gave you the information you wanted as to why I'm in Savannah, could you delete the photo? This is politics. So to be honest, he probably has a back copy of it on the cloud. I don't know. But strangely enough, Oliver, who's like the freaking Randall of Recess, comes in seconds after Scott leaves. And apparently Charles wants to see Landon in the morning. So after a couple more jabs at Oliver's hair, that's the end of that scene. Then we go over to Benny and Mitch in a strip club. And there are a couple dudes at the side of the wall kind of, you know, staring them down. I'm like, wait, are those dudes like bouncers or what? Because at first, you know, I was mid-tweet. You know, I was on Twitter, but then I was like side-eyeing my TV. So I really didn't catch those guys, you know, they were staring Benny and Mitch down, or if they were just, you know, again, club bouncers or something. Benny's like, oh, damn, my phone's in your car. He's about to go out there, but Mitch is like, no phone. So he cuts his off and throwing money at the strippers. And I'm like, Benny and Hannah have like a negative $1,000 or something balance in their bank account. So where's Benny getting this money? This is either money Mitch gave him to celebrate or money that Benny just happened to have on him at the time. And yeah, so no job, still live with your mom. No real money of your own coming in, yet you're throwing dollars at a stripper. Yep, Benny, live it up big. But then a stripper named Bella gives Benny a private dance in the back for free because she looks like she's approached by those two guys. So I'm guessing that, you know, she wasn't hired by Jim. Those two guys were the ones that Jim hired to kidnap Benny. But they probably paid this chick. It's like, hey, get that dude a private dance in the room and you slip some in his drink. So Mitch is a bit suspicious because as soon as Benny goes back with the women, you know, those two guys are kind of, you know, looking at Mitch, and then he's looking at them. Then they're looking at the back room and he's like, wait, what the hell is going on? So after that, you know, we go over to Rocky and Broderick. And honestly, this scene was just like a repeat of last week. The only takeaways is that this place is paid for, which I'm pretty sure we already knew that from a previous episode. I think either after Wyatt bought it or when Catherine gave it over to Broderick. But basically, yeah, the deed says that the place is paid for. So Broderick, you know, he's just biding his time living. It's like, look, the feds are after us. Jim Cryer probably wants to kill me even more so than ever now. I'm just going to chill out here. Honestly, I really don't blame him. I mean, well, A, he doesn't know that Catherine's alive. B, he doesn't know that she's been arrested. So as of right now, he could just chill. But the other takeaway is that Rocky has brought back the prostitution ring. Honestly, it's not as successful without the likes of Candace, RK, or Gia around, but there's enough, to kind of get by. So he gives Broderick his cut, tells him, the FBI guy is gone. He's not coming back. We don't have to worry about being deported. We told him everything he wanted. Looks like Candace was all he was after. So brought the ring back, and we're just going to do our thing. So I advise you, man, you might want to come back. So it's almost like, and this has been confirmed, if you will, the FBI just wanted to bring down the feds just wanted to bring down Candace and be damned to everyone else, Rocky, Broderick, and RK. Kind of like, George wanted to have the Harringtons and the Criers arrested, but he got the Criers, specifically Catherine. So at this point, he doesn't give a damn about the Harringtons, because honestly, he would have arrested David on the spot right there. Because remember, the grand jury had indicted both the Harringtons and the Criers. So after Catherine was arrested and David showed up, I'm like, oh shit, is David going to get arrested? No, he's fine. Then we get back to the strip club. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. I'm looking over the same note again. Gretchen comes over to Charles. They talk a bit, and she can tell something's wrong, and it has to do with Candace. And yeah, they have sex, and she suggests calling Candace. It's kind of funny how Charles just called up Gretchen for angry sex, but at the same time, Gretchen is laying down some real truth bombs. And when I heard Gretchen, all I could think about was Gretchen Grundler from Recess. Or it wasn't there a girl named Gretchen in the movie Mean Girls? But this Gretchen, I'm like, damn, she does not look like either one of them. I don't know. It must be the hair that gets me. It's any woman that has voluptuous hair that always gets my attention. And it's really interesting, the fact that, she brings up a couple of key points. Number one, she's an heiress. Number two, she has a boyfriend who she told Charles she broke up with as soon as you called. But I, for the life of me, could not make out the name of the boyfriend. At first, I thought it was Byron, but I think it's Byer, B-Y-R-E. I could be wrong, but I looked at the episode with subtitles and everything, but it didn't pick up. So if anyone caught the name of Gretchen's boyfriend, let me know, because I'm wondering, Jeffery Owens is showing up next week. Gretchen is going to be on the show this season and in season 8, so she's not going anywhere anytime soon. So Jeffery Owens, I'm thinking, could Jeffery Owens be Gretchen's father that had spoiled her? Or could Jeffery Owens be the boyfriend? I don't know. But either way, obviously Gretchen and Charles have a history together, and it's not that she was talking down to him, but she tells Charles pretty much what he doesn't want to hear, which is good that he has someone that he actually allows to be truthful to him, kind of like Landon was for a while. But in this case, he's actually interested in the person that he's getting the advice from. So after being kind of a dick, no pun intended, Gretchen decides to leave. Then we go back to the strip club, and Benny gets a private dance, and she drugs. Okay, guys, this is the part that kind of concerns me. And if you have not seen A Fall from Grace, kind of cover your ears for the next 45 seconds, because there's spoilers. So in A Fall from Grace, Claire Huxtable, her character in the movie, has in the basement a bunch of older ladies, white, black, I think, just a mixture of ladies, older women, chained up and whatnot. Then in the next episode of The Haves and the Have-Nots, Elvin, Jeffery Owens, shows up. Then in this week's episode of The Haves and the Have-Nots, you have someone slipping something in Benny's drink. Is this like a Cosby trifecta? Because as soon as I saw that pill go in the clink in the ice, I'm like, oh, here we go. So Benny, we're going to give you a private dance in the back room, and you're going to have a good time, and it's going to be for free. Because I know you just got out of the clutches of the Malones, and you kicked Jim's ass, and you're still living at home with your mama. You saw Mitch hug it up on your sister, and then you saw Derek and Hannah having relations many times through. Like that one time you climbed into bed, even though you shouldn't have done that, because you a grown-ass man in your mama's house that she got for the woman that she maids and cleans for. I know I probably can't do my Cosby. I was doing it fine last night when I was talking with Chandler about the episode. Because when you got something in your drink that makes you go to sleep, you're going to have a decent night. Because you're going to wake up the next morning with your drawers on in reverse. And by the time you come to, you realize you ain't at home. You've been done kidnapped. So I'm just like, why is this happening? It's like we spent more time on this stripper's ass than we were with the progression of the story of the episode. Now, another thing is in the strip club, there was that one song, I got moves, 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 I got moves. And I even tweeted this out. And I'm like, that song sounds familiar. And it sounded like the same song that was playing in the episode The Power Dance, which I believe is the season 2 season premiere. And the reason the song resonates with me is because that was a Benny song. When I say a Benny song, it was the song playing at the welcome home Benny party that Hannah was throwing at her house after Benny had come home from the hospital from coming out of the coma from the hit and run. Remember when he was taking off life support? And I'll always remember, like in the episodes leading up to that scene, Benny was like, look, Ma, we ain't got money for no welcome home party, all this free food and people just eating our food and we ain't got no money. It's like, we need to, we need to get back to work. I need to get back in the tow truck. You need to go back to the criers. And like, Hannah's like, you just got out of the hospital. And good point. But at the same time, Benny's like, well, yeah, but hey, guess what? We got bills and we still need to pay them. So then you get to this situation where I got moves in a strip club. Benny ain't got no damn job. They ain't got no money. Yet you're just throwing ones at a stripper. See what I mean here? It's kind of interesting how that song resonates. And we haven't heard that song in what? Almost 4 or 5 years, but it's still catchy. I don't know who sings it. Well, maybe if I go back and watch the episode during the end credits in slow motion, maybe I can catch like the name of the song. I'm willing to bet that it's like a Tyler Perry original song for the haves and the have-nots. That way he wouldn't have to pay, royalties if he borrowed the song from an actual artist. Again, I could be wrong, but I think it's a original. Remember that episode where when Candace was looking at houses after she took that $7.4 million from Jim? I don't remember the episode, but it was when she was looking through the houses, the one that she bought for Benny and the one she bought for herself. And then there was that one song that was like, nobody help me. It was basically a song that was really themed to Candace in regards to everything dirty she's done to get the money she has now. It's like, hey, nobody helped me. No one looked out for me. I had to do everything myself. Now I got what I've always dreamed of. And like, I feel like that was one of the first scenes in the entire series where we had a montage of previous events, which was pretty interesting. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that Tyler Perry just wrote the song himself, because if you think about all the plays from back in the day, there were a lot of original songs that Tyler Perry wrote specifically for the play. So just wanted to throw that out there. Just like that girl threw that thing in Benny's drink. Jim is brought to the hospital. Celine notices, tell Madison, hey, that's the father of my 2 kids. Nothing to say there. Hannah calls Candace, and 2 questions here. Okay, so Candace at the strip club looking for Benny. Okay, that's all well and good. Hannah, what the hell are you still doing at the house? Like, Catherine's gone, Jim's gone, Wyatt's gone, David and Jeffrey are gone. I mean, you could suspect that she's still at Catherine's house because she's trying to find any information in the house that might link towards why Benny's name was written down, and she already knows why Benny's name was written down. Like, finding evidence or intel that could help her figure out who Jim would contact in order to have the hit on Benny placed for his abduction. But George literally said, there's nothing I know or nothing I can do. He's gotten his white whale. He's gotten his Moby Dick. Catherine in jail and Jim's in the hospital. So he ain't got nothing to say to Hannah right now. So Hannah's on her own. Not sure what she's doing at the house. This isn't like a couple seasons ago where she told Catherine she's quitting her job. Oh yeah, this does remind me of a few seasons ago. Remember when Catherine and Jim were both in jail? This was season 4, right? When Hannah was literally just sitting in the kitchen at the Cryer Mansion because she wasn't leaving until she got paid. And then David comes over saying that, he wanted intel on Benny because he knew about the affair that he was having with Veronica and wanted to protect Benny because Veronica's a very calculating woman and Benny being involved with her isn't good for anyone. And then Hannah pretty much told him off, pretty much like she did in this. Yeah, we're rehashing events from like 3 seasons ago. That's why this episode was so boring. Okay, then Oliver comes back into Landon's room again, pretty much, trying to chastise him. Is like, look, you allowed Charles to be involved with Candace Young. I heard about the shooting involving the Harringtons and the Criers. What the hell were you thinking? Then, he tells him to get his rooster-looking ass out of there because of the haircut. And then Landon calls Jeffrey pretty much in the same fashion. No, actually, Landon calls Jeffrey about the whole shooting incident and wants to know if Jeffrey's okay. Kind of flirts with him a bit. I think the last time that Landon and Jeffrey interacted was when Landon got drunk at the bar, then followed Jeffrey up to his hotel room, and Justin was in there naked, and then he choked Landon, and then Veronica burst in and took the video on her phone. Yeah, that's it. So those two haven't talked in a while, but Landon still wants Jeffrey. Jeffrey's like, oh, that's nice, but I don't want you, and then that's the end of the conversation. But it was a bit more civil than usual, so I will give him that. Then we get to the Derek and Veronica scene. Like I said, I've done a full video on it. She wants intel on Real for dropping dime on her. Derek tells her off. And then in the last scene, we get Mitch realizing that, wait a minute, this club doesn't give free dances. Benny, where are you? Then that's the end of the episode. But a couple things here, and this episode reviews longer than I expected. Landon is like becoming one of my least favorite characters now, which is sad because he was in like my top 3. I really loved his character development. The fact that you go from pining after Charles to being apologetic for trying to go down on him when he's straight, and then realizing that Candace makes Charles better. Even if I had to put my own feelings aside, I want to do what's best for this campaign as well as the man I actually have feelings for. So him getting Candace back together with Charles, I love that. Now it's almost like we're doing a full regression on him being a whiny, child. So Landon is kind of, even if he's trying to help Candace get her position back with Charles, I ain't really feeling him this season. Maybe it's the whole Oliver dynamic, and I don't trust him because, like I said before, he's just lurking around like Randall from Recess. I don't trust him. We just had a lot of regurgitated dialogue in the episode. Like always, it was a great looking episode from the camera angles to the lighting. I have nothing negative to say about that at all. It's rare that we have scenes where characters, we see them, but we don't hear them. It's like, we're kind of like taken into the scene with the music and the sound effects. So that was Benny and Mitch at the strip club. So that was an interesting dynamic. Gosh, is there anything to talk about that I haven't said already? Yeah, Gretchen, I kind of like the character. We'll have to wait and see where that goes. But Buyer, again, I could be wrong about the name, but I'm interested to see who this Buyer is in terms of a boyfriend. Will we even meet her father at some point? I mean, what kind of potential character arc could he have in the upcoming episodes? And like I said before, Gretchen isn't going anywhere anytime soon, so we haven't seen the last of her. And looking over the notes, I think that about does it. 5 out of 10. I know that's an extremely low score, but like I said before, I'm not going to pull my punches. If an episode isn't good, an episode isn't good. Next week's episode, the preview really has me pumped up for what's to come. But let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. I think my favorite scene was Derek and Veronica, but freaking Wyatt with that whole banter thing about like, what is it? When Jeffrey's like, what are we going to do with him? And then Wyatt's like, David's like, there's nothing we can do for him now. There's nothing we can do to help him now. And then when it's like, we're going to the hospital, didn't Wyatt say nothing you could do to help there either? I'm like, this fool, carry his ass to jail. But yeah. Also at the strip club, didn't Candace keep asking how's Jim? So is she continuously asking about how's Jim in regards to, if he's dead, I want to keep the money. So once again, no character growth for Candace. So thanks so much for tuning in, guys. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Social media links in the description below. And do you think I rated the episode too low? Did you actually enjoy the episode? We're 3 episodes in, and I'm not impressed at all.